All right, Keller, Rockwall, thank you for the patience and just a couple of technical difficulties, and you just roll with it, right? Yeah. It's just like anything else in life. You just roll and go. All right, so let's just jump right into the most important news of the day.
The Super Bowl? Or
yeah. I don't know what else you're talking about.
Yeah. I see.
Oh, the Super Bowl.
Look at there.
Oh, if you missed it, Chiefs win. Chiefs win.
Oh, man.
Chiefs win. Man, that's actually I'm not as excited about the Chiefs winning as Eagles lose.
Oh,
Eagles
yeah.
lose.
There we go.
Eagles lose. So I'm being a poser Chiefs fan today with my red sweater on. And if you see Chandler around the office, man, make sure to give that guy a big hug because he was rooting for the Eagles all last night. And you know what? All I got to All right. So if you could just tell them that, sorry for the word, sorry. But just give Chandler a little extra love.
Will do.
All right. So let's actually jump into wait a second. Just to rub it into the Eagles' face a little bit, I ran across this. The first city to lose 3 straight pro championships, soccer, baseball, and football. What a miserable city. Sorry for any of our agents from Philadelphia, but Eagles lose. All right.
Are you a Cowboys fan?
Maybe. All right, let's see here. Let's roll into the stats. Oh man. All right, what do we got? All right. So we talked about last week that we're starting to have buyer movement, buyers picking up in the marketplace. And so we had actives, actives overall, the number kind of stayed where it's at or where it's been at. But if you look at our active option tick up, right? A pretty good tick up on active option. So exciting to see that happen. We've got pendings holding tight and our solds are holding tight again. So everything's ticking its way back up. And I think it's really, if we keep looking at this trend line down at the bottom, go from kind of one point to another, good, just little arrow pointing in the upward direction.
Yeah. I mean, it's been pretty consistent the last 2 weeks, it's a lot of similarities to what we were talking about last week. And yeah, I mean, it's all good signs.
So if we flip around, let's go over to Dallas. Man, I'd be interested to see what was going on here where and as we look at these numbers, one thing to kind of keep in mind on the actives as we're pulling everything, we're pulling numbers for an entire week, right? And so what ends up happening when you pull numbers from a hot sheet from an entire week is, well, actives, it's not necessarily giving you new listings for that week. It's giving the total count for 1 week. But so it breaks it down by, I think it divides it out by 7. So if you look in the MLS and go, well, we've got more than 111 homes available in Rockwall, divide out by 7. Makes sense. Makes sense. That's just how the hot sheet works whenever we get these stats in. But it gives a nice idea of what everything looks like without blowing up the graphs at the bottom. So a little disclaimer there. So had a big uptick again, but overall the average, man, it's interesting that you had that at the beginning of the month in January and then again in February. Just a really strong dip downward and then pop right back up the next week. I don't know. But your active options, your let's see that they're expired. Pendings are going up, solds are up.
Wow.
Each market, everything's just kind of pointing up.
Yeah, no, and Dallas, I know, fell off a little bit last week. So for it to, just bounce right back into that, just shows that it's doing what the rest of the Dallas Fort Worth area is doing.
Yeah, it's nice when there's not a lag behind some of these other markets, because they kind of get a little crossways when you see something like that. Same thing in Collin County, tick up from last week on active inventory. Expired staying down. Another good tick up on pendings, active options staying consistent. I would probably say the next time we have this conversation, we see a tick up for the week of the 20th, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. And then when we go over to sold, same constant, same thing over and over. That was Kaufman County, Collin County. There we go. Make sure
make sure you're on mute.
So then we go over to Collin, same thing, active option. Pretty consistent numbers right now. And so as we're sitting here talking, go down the lake.
Wow, look at there.
Another big uptick.
That's great to see right there.
Pendings up. Active option holding really steady. So
that pending going to 18 too.
Yeah, and I think as we're having these conversations with our sellers and buyers, we ought to be taking something away from these calls, right? It's not just a lot of things that are just happening in the market and all right, it's to give you a little bit of confidence of what is happening, but it's also to turn around and for us to say, all right, how do we communicate this to buyers and sellers? And to the seller, it's all about confidence, right? We have to instill a great amount of confidence of what's going on, because there's other news out there that's kind of all over the place. So being able to tell sellers that, hey, our active option, it's not in this downward trend where we saw it, if you go back to October here and all the way to the first part of January, just kind of trailing down. No, we are on this sharp progressive trail upwards right now. I mean, these are great lines. So,
yeah, it makes for an easy conversation when you talking to someone that's looking to list or they're looking to buy. That hey, there's a lot of movement going on in the market right now, and now's a good time to get a hold of that. Get ahead of it before the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's hop into a couple news items here. Just another reason to love that the Kansas City Chiefs won. Patrick Mahomes is a native North Texans. Go Patrick Mahomes. Okay. AI. We talk a lot about ChatGPT. We talk a lot about just an emergence of AI and how we can use it in the industry. I think this is really interesting. There was a ad last night for Morgan AI. I totally missed it. I had other people text me about it because I didn't understand what they were communicating, which is not a good thing for a TV advertisement. But Morgan AI is a mortgage lending artificial intelligence. And when I kind of had to wrap my head around this one, because what it's actually doing is there's a program out there that we try to use at one point called Mobile Monkey. And you had to train it. You had to type in all these different scenarios of, hey, you might get asked this question, then follow up with these questions, right? So you kind of guide it along. And so it can have a semi-intelligent conversation. What this is doing is having a fully intelligent conversation, from being able to collect money, from collecting documents, and then your client turns in the document to the lender, and then it asks a follow-up document. Hey, I also see that we're missing this. This is going to cut down on a lot of outsourcing that companies do. I mean, not in just the lending environment, but going across to just about every industry. Smart AI chatbots. You're not sitting there having to teach it. It's just a very intuitive human brain is what they call it. So something to watch because it's coming into our industry, and I think this is something that we're going to see us use like in command and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading this article. It talks about it can read like the emotional. It talks about the voice inflection as far as how you communicate with it, and it picks up different things about a conversation that a normal AI wouldn't necessarily pick up. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Kind of concerns me about just different ways of where we're going, but at the same time, it's a great tool for us to use and get involved in and get ahead of it rather than fall behind on it.
Yeah, just embrace it. So let's cut across here. All right. The Southeast Dallas homes offer relative affordability despite high mortgage rates. What'd you see here?
This one is this the one that we were talking about a lot, mostly about Terrell and Forney,
Yeah, Lancaster, Wilmer.
Yeah, the southeast part of Dallas. I mean, yeah, it's the prices. You can definitely tell that the prices are a little bit different than your Rockwalls and your Heaths and your McKinneys and Prospers. But I mean, it's just an opportunity, as a first time home buyer, someone that's moving in. If they're looking for a house, this is kind of directing like, hey, there's a lot of opportunity in that southeast region. Forney and Terrell, which is right in our backyard. A lot of great opportunities out there, for first time home, not necessarily just first time home buyers, but some people are looking to find a house, and if interest rates are scaring them, then there's still opportunities that are out there for them.
No, absolutely. Like I said, this is in our backyard, right? And so as I was kind of flipping through here, reading some of the stuff, saying that Forney was the hottest market in North Texas, the third hottest market in North Texas, the third hottest market in all of Texas, behind Katy and New Braunfels, and one of the best in the nation. And shame on me, I started thinking about, well, why haven't I taken advantage of this, right? You've got affordability, so we can go after first-time home buyers. And then you've got a lot of new builds going in there. There's a lot of opportunity. And so last night I started thinking to myself, all right, so if I want to run a ad out of Facebook, how should I do this? So I popped over to ChatGPT. All right. And so you can kind of see my progression here of how I started this. Hey, write a Facebook ad attracting first-time home buyers to Lancaster. And it wrote this big long thing. I told to narrow it down to 60 characters or less. And it popped out here. And it was for Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I told it Lancaster, Texas. And so on down the road, I told it, don't mention schools. Took it out. And again, changed it to Forney, told it to make it 60 characters, and then told it to give me emojis. Well, there's my quick little ad.
Wow.
Right. Nice and easy. To the point. And I started messing with it later on from the perspective of, well, all right, now make it 120 characters or 90 characters. I want to play around with it because what you don't want are the continuation dots when you write that ad. So whatever that magic formula, if it's 78 characters or whatever, tell it to narrow it down to that, and it's going to write you a little more of a robust as it can ad. But it kind of takes all the thinking out of it. If it saves you 10 minutes, you do 5 ads, it saves you an hour.
Right. Wow. Add emojis. That's a new one. I haven't seen that on the ChatGPT yet.
Yeah, that one's fun.
That's awesome.
I don't have to search through the whole, which one do I want to use? And yeah, it just pops them all in there. But yeah, first time home buyers, this market is a big problem for first time home buyers and affordability. And I mean, a lot of these areas that we're talking about, the median price in Terrell or Lancaster, you're looking at like 296 or 280, something like that. Forney was in the low threes, like 305 maybe. And so as rates are going down, if you kind of miss that boat, well, you got it right there. So
And it's just another great way as far as because in the Forney and Terrell areas, there is a lot of new construction that's going on. So these first time home buyers, the incentives that they can get when talking to these new builds and getting in there, it combats the interest rates for you, so instead of getting that 6.2 or whatever that looks like, now you can potentially get a 5% interest rate, just by going with the new build. So you being the market expert, and knowing what those incentives are for each new build is only going to fill your toolbox, with other ways to combat the high interest rates that are going on right now.
Well said. All right, just kind of hit on this real quick. It's interesting to kind of see the manic market we're in right now, where we're expecting a recession, then you got economists coming out and saying, no, we're not expecting a recession, but now they're saying, we might see Dallas home prices fall by 5 to 10%. But 5 to 10% from where? Right? Because everything is measured from one date to another with the morning news and Biz Journal. It's you'll see articles saying, well, we're measuring it from the peak of the market to where we're at now. But what we really need to be doing is kind of giving ourselves like, where are we from last January, right? So as we go through this market, I think we're going to see, like when we get into April, there's going to be a chasm. Like we're probably going to see this 10% drop, right? Because we had a huge April, and then we started seeing prices fall in that June timeframe. And so I don't think it's wrong, but I also think that we're going to make up some ground through the summer.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big notes I took is 5 to 10%. And just in Dallas in general, it was so much lower than other parts of the country, So again, a lot of arrows pointing that Dallas Fort Worth isn't necessarily taking the same kind of hit that you're seeing nationally. And I know in this article they talked about some other locations too. So, sometimes I just wonder about the validity of it as far as when they start talking about all these different areas, like what is their main focus and where does it that they're honed in. And what we're seeing right now is that, hey, there's multiple showings on houses that are on the market. Open houses are starting to see a lot more activity. So those are all good signs. So, don't necessarily get too wrapped around about home prices falling, I would say, just more or less in the activity and the knowledge base of like just be able to have those conversations with your clients.
Right on. Because then when we flip over here, return to status quo, DFW prices are closer to where they were a year ago. Cool. What is it? Like, are we having this horrible drop? Or are they back where they were a year ago? Again, as we are giving guidance to sellers and they're afraid of where they're at, because the article talks in one place in here about you're going to have sellers, and I think that they are absolutely true on this. You're going to have sellers that are looking into the past, right? If I would have just sold my house a year ago, then I could have made another 10%, another 40,000. But here's the here and now of where we're really at is it also says we're about 6% higher than we were back in last January. So, hey, congratulations. We took a dip in the market, which was actually healthy, but where we're at right now, the market's picking up. You have a lot of buyers coming out. Go to the I forget what our website is. Was the real estate. We'll get it out there, but be able to show them this graph in your listing presentations, because it provides confidence, right? But being able to tell them that we are 6% higher than we were last year, so you're still making money. We haven't lost just everything that's out in the market.
Yeah, I like that graph. Definitely shows the activity pretty well right there.
I love tech. All right. And then lower interest rates bring buyers back to the housing market. This is where we're at. Multiple offers, and like you said a second ago, buyers walking back through open houses at a higher rate. We're getting more offers. Our days on the market, I think, are about to start dropping drastically. We're still low on inventory. Um, I believe at some point we were talking about well, anyways, our inventory is still under 3. In Rockwall, we've had the sharpest drop of pendings year over year at 37%, but we're also still, like I said, 6% higher than we were last year. That's a lot of positivity, and we're at 2.8 months of inventory on the market, which is still a very big seller's market. So as interest rates continue to drop, and we've got a big Fed meeting around the corner again, you know, we're going to continue to go. We're going to be in the averages of the high 5s here in a few weeks, 5 3/4 or so, and that is going to bring back a lot of buyers really quick. 10% lower, let's say, on home prices, and now we're 1.25% lower on interest rates. There should be a big influx.
Yeah, it's really just finding the motivated that are out there. You know, there are people that are out there motivated to sell, motivated to, you know, cash in on some equity, and then there's some people that just have to move. You know, I always think about the D's, you know, as far as you have divorce, death, disease, diapers, deployments. You know, what are you looking, like, who are you looking to as far as, you know, people that maybe have to move, you know, and because I know some people, you know, are still, well, why am I going to leave a 2.5 interest rate, you know, and move into a 6% home? You know, there's still people out there, but there are still people that have to move. So it's finding the motivated that are out there that are willing to move.
Yeah. I like this graph to show everybody that at 5.8, this was the big hike in June, and that's where we started having demand drop off. So if in another couple of weeks we're right around 5.8, 5 3/4, and we're going into the hottest market instead of starting to, well, I mean, we're midsummer there, but this is where, but you're also 10% lower, let's say, on home prices. This is going to bring back a lot of people, and you're going to have an issue of not having business if you've been on the sidelines a little worried or not setting up systems. Be ready for some multiple offers, be ready for those showings, get back in the open houses, because there's a lot of buyers and they also don't want to miss out. We've had a lot of buyers that would have bought 2 or 3 months ago in the last 2 or 3 months that didn't. So they're still waiting out there. We have to be ready for this influx back into the marketplace. And so if we are to put a message out there, what's the message? If I'm sitting at 6% and I can tell somebody they can get to 4%, or if we're sitting at 3.8 or 5.8 again and tell somebody they can get to 3.8, how can I get leads off of that? So I did in ChatGPT. All right, write a Facebook ad that tells telling home buyers how they can use a 2-1 buy down on their mortgage.
Wow, look at that.
All right, gave me a big old, like, that's a nice blog. Make it 120 characters or less. Gave me that. Now use emojis. There is my ad. I can copy and paste into Facebook. And by the way, with the Market Center, we have a great resource in Sherry Crane that we can partner with in funneling some of these leads into and letting them know more about the 2-1 buy down. So we're not missing a step. Get the leads into Sherry, have her as an accessory to convert. You're also needing to call them. This is a nice 1-2 combo. So use the tools we have all around us and use it wisely, right?
Yeah, those emojis again.
Those emojis. All right, Justin. So we're at the end of our time. Thank you again to everybody for bearing with us, getting through our little bit of a delay. Go Chiefs. And what is the takeaway from today?
You know, I mean, I feel like it's been the same, you know, the last few weeks and few months. You know, lean into your business. Don't get discouraged. There are people out there that are looking to buy and sell real estate.
Yep.
how are you going to find them? What is the activity that you're going to do to create action in your business that's going to lead you to more qualified buyers and people who are motivated to sell?
Well said. If you ask yourself those questions and you can answer that, do that today. I guarantee you're going to walk away this week with the listing and a buyer. Absolutely. Just put in the work and go after it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I don't want to leave the call without saying a couple things. We're not going to have a call next week. Family reunion.
Family reunion kicks off on Friday.
We might do a couple live spots from out there, but
Yeah.
no call. Growth groups start tomorrow morning. If you haven't signed up, it's not too late. It's never too late. Join in next week, next month, whatever you want to do, but get into a growth group. If you don't know what the heck we're talking about, go back to some previous videos. But this is a way that we're growing the market center individually through the leadership of our ALC, through very specific business development and lead gen ideas, right? It's a meeting of the minds, big masterminds. And then tomorrow, Cappy Hour. Right? I got that one right this time. Okay, yeah. Tomorrow is Cappy Hour.
Tuesday is Cappy Hour. February 14th. Don't get in trouble.
All right, y'all. That's all I got. And open house training tomorrow too.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
Pete McComb will be here. All right.
Everybody have a great day.
Have a good one.